Good evening, everyone. I'm Kubrali, and you're watching Awaz News. Tonight, I'll be taking you to top news across Canada. Officer hit by driver of fleeing vehicle in incident caught on video, York Regional Police. TD worst case scenario, more likely after drug money laundering allegations analyst. Two baby bald eagles hatch in Toronto. Man wanted for second-degree murder in Scarborough apartment stabbing. Video shows suspects setting Richmond Hill barbershop on fire. Police release images of suspects in theft of $20,000 in jewelry. These were the headlines, and now let's go through the details. Video of a suspect lighting a Richmond Hill barbershop on fire early this week has been released by police. York Regional Police officers were called to the area of Yonge Street and Major Mackenzie Drive on May 1st at approximately 3:45 a.m. for a report of fire. When emergency crews arrived on scene, police said they found the front window of the business had been smashed and the interior was engulfed in flames. The fire was extinguished and no injuries were reported. In the video released by investigators on Friday, a suspect dressed in dark-colored clothing is seen inside the business with what appears to be a gas can. The suspect appears to cover the property in an unidentified liquid before returning to the front of the shop and igniting it. Suddenly, the entire barbershop goes up in flames as heavy smoke obscures the view of a surveillance camera. Investigators are appealing to anyone who witnessed any suspicious activity or anyone with a video recording that captured any suspicious activity in the area to please come forward, police said in a news release accompanying Friday's video. Police are asking anyone with information connected to the arson investigation to contact them at 1-866-876 5423 extension 7241 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. TD Bank Group could be hit with more severe penalties than previously expected, says a banking analyst, after a report that the investigation it faces in the U.S. is tied to laundering illicit fentanyl profits. National Bank analyst Gabriel Descheny said in a note that the worst-case scenario of the multiple U.S. investigations, TD faces needs reassessing after the Wall Street Journal reported the link on Thursday. The newspaper said the U.S. Justice Department investigation is focused on how Chinese drug traffickers allegedly used TD to launder at least $650 million US and bribed TD employees to do so. TD did not comment directly on the report but said its anti-money laundering defenses had been deficient. Criminals constantly seek to use banks to launder money. Regrettably, our U.S. anti-money laundering program did not effectively thwart these activities. This is unacceptable, and we must and we will do better, said spokeswoman Elizabeth Goldenstein in a statement. She said the bank continues to cooperate with law enforcement and regulators and that a comprehensive effort is underway to strengthen its anti-money laundering program. Descheny said the severity of the allegations means TD could not only face fines well above the $500 million to $1 billion that many investors have anticipated, but also more severe regulatory imposed limitations on its business activities. The cumulative fines could easily hit $2 billion, while regulators could put in place restrictions, including limits on its balance sheet growth that could affect bank operations for years, said Descheny. The link to drug trafficking comes the same week TD announced it had taken an initial provision of $450 million US in connection to ongoing US regulatory inquiry into its anti-money laundering compliance program. The bank said on Tuesday its discussions with 3 US regulators and the Department of Justice are ongoing and anticipates additional financial penalties. Separately, Canada's financial crime watchdog FinTrack levied a $9.2 million penalty against the bank on Thursday for non-compliance with money laundering and terrorist financing measures. TD Bank's stock price fell almost 6% to $74.80 Friday on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Two baby bald eagles have hatched in Toronto just weeks after a bald eagle nest was spotted in the city for the first time ever. The nest was spotted in the early March at a location officials have kept secret to protect the well-being of the birds. Since then, 2 baby eagles, have been spotted inside the nest. After hatching, eaglets remain in their nest for up to 3 months while eating, resting, and growing with care for their mother. They cannot fly immediately following their birth, and it takes around 2 months for them to learn to leave the nest. The senior manager of restoration and infrastructure for the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority (TRCA), Karen McDonald, said ensuring safety is a priority. Toronto and Region Conservation Authority can confirm that 2 eagles are being raised in Toronto, she said in a statement provided to Awaz News. Maintaining their habitat and ensuring their welfare are critical priorities for us, which is why we request that all media outlets continue to keep their location undisclosed. As of right now, the eaglet's nest is the only documented nest in Toronto verified by TRCA. In 2022, there were more than 2,600 bald eagle nests identified throughout the province. The bald eagle was removed from Ontario species at risk list in 2023 and has since been seen in areas throughout Ontario. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow is responding to criticism over Toronto's efforts to decriminalize drugs in the wake of the opioid crisis, saying it misses a much more urgent need. People are going through the cycle and they are not getting anywhere, Chow said during a sit-down interview on Awaz News, referring to people who were arrested for drug possession before being released with no place to go. She said many of the people living on the streets of Toronto have addiction issues that can't properly be resolved without housing. Early this week, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre sent a letter to the federal government asking it to deny Toronto's request to decriminalize simple possession of small amounts of drugs for personal use. Toronto's medical officer of health, Eileen Divila, defended the city's request in statement, saying that decriminalization is fundamentally recognizing that addiction is a health issue and said decriminalization is not the same as legalization. She said the city urgently needs more publicly funded treatment programs. Chow echoed that sentiment Friday, but said the debate misses the point. She said decriminalization really is the end of the conversation rather than the start, and said on the ground practical solutions like housing are where she would rather focus her energy when it comes to the opioid crisis. The renewed debate comes as British Columbia asked the federal government to walk back some parts of an exemption it was granted as part of the pilot project in 2023. Toronto has asked for similar exemption to allow simple possession of small amounts of hard drugs, but it is still being considered by the federal government. Toronto police are asking for public's help in finding a man wanted in connection with a fatal stabbing at a Scarborough apartment last month. On morning of April 14, officers were called to a TCHC building in the area of Lawrence Avenue East and Morningside Avenue for a medical complaint. When they arrived, police located 40-year-old Muhammad Mo Abdullah Muhammad stabbed. Despite life-saving efforts, Muhammad, who was also known as Muhammad Awad, was pronounced dead at the scene. On Friday, police identified the suspect as 30-year-old Jason Chambers. He's wanted for second-degree murder. The motive behind the stabbing is unknown. Police have said that the victim did not reside in the building. Homicide investigators ask anyone who knows the whereabouts of the suspect to contact them at 416-808-7400 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. Police have released images of 2 of 3 suspects who they say stole thousands of dollars in jewelry from an East End store early this week. Police say that the suspects entered a jewelry store in Queen Street East and Balsam Avenue area just after 6 p.m. on April 30th. Once inside, they proceeded to steal approximately $20,000 worth of jewelry and fled the scene in an unknown direction, according to police. The suspects include a man, a woman, and a male youth. Images of the youth suspect have not been released. The male suspect is described as being 5'4" and between the ages of 40 and 45 with a goatee. At the time of the theft, he was wearing glasses, a white baseball hat, black jacket, and white shirt. The female suspect is described as being 5'2" and between the ages of 40 and 45 years old. At the time, she was wearing a long black dress, black shoes, and black head covering. The third suspect is described as male youth between the age of 16 and 19, approximately 5'8" and with a large build. He was wearing a dark toque, a white sweater, and a blue jeans. Police are urging anyone with the information to contact investigators. York Regional Police say they are continuing to search for a suspect in an auto theft investigation who was captured on video running over a police officer in Toronto last month. According to investigators, at around 7:30 a.m. on April 30th, York Regional Police located two stolen vehicles in the area of Overlea Boulevard and Thorncliffe Park Drive in East York. Two suspects were located at the scene and one was arrested after a short-foot pursuit, police said. Police alleged that the second suspect entered a vehicle in the area and drove at police, striking a cruiser and an officer. In a video of the incident, which was released by police on Friday, the driver can be seen accelerating as an officer sprints toward the vehicle, stepping into the SUV's path. The driver then strikes the officer, who hits the windshield and is sent flying over the top of the vehicle. The officer can be seen getting up off the ground as the vehicle continues on without stopping. Police said the suspect crashed the vehicle into a nearby building and fled the area on foot. The officer was not seriously injured and was transported to a nearby hospital with minor injuries. The suspect has been described by police as brown male with a thin build, black hair, and is approximately 5 feet 8 inches tall. Police have released a photo of the outstanding suspect and are appealing to public for help identifying the man. The suspect, who was arrested at the scene, has been identified as 18-year-old Toronto resident Ahmed Abdul Wasi. He has been charged with several offenses, including 2 counts of theft of a motor vehicle, 3 counts of possession of property obtained by crime, and 2 counts of trafficking property obtained by crime. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, good night.